Ooh, that looks tasty. Support for Boards and Brews comes from Sovereignty. Play board games in a 3D environment on any device. Play smarter. Welcome, folks. Jay the Hungry Gamer is back with another episode of Boards and Brews, and today I am joined by the coolest guy I met at PAX U, Mr. Dare I say, Doctor. I don't know if he's a doctor. I want to say Doctor. Aaron Bradley of the GameEnthus, who was my morning companion every day. He would put up with me for about half an hour, and he'd go off and do important person stuff. But really glad to have you join us. And so before we can jump right in, first off, we're on Boards and Brews. So what is your brewed beverage of choice today?
I had a bunch of tea, but I drank it all.
So I guess. well, that's good because I had to. It's still early morning here. Well, it's 11, but early-ish here. So had to take my wife out to get her car because cars are always broken. So I just have a nice half-finished cappuccino because I thought we were doing this an hour earlier, and so I'm just all out of sorts. All right, so the rapid-fire questions everybody gets the first time on. Who the crap are you? What is your channel? What is your shtick? And how and why did you get started in the media game?
Okay, so who am I? Let me just say, first of all, Will, thank you for inviting me. And it's weird to hear somebody say my full government name on a podcast because normally that never happens. It's fine. It's okay. Well, I don't want to distract early on, but I've been doing video game stuff like forever, and I've only was pretty much known by my first name. But because the board game community is so much smaller, it makes complete sense why more people are known by their full names. It's just it's fine. So anyway,
I told you, you're big time. You get your full name on here.
Okay, if you say so.
You're very important
to me, but that's about it to myself. So who am I? I'm Aaron. Yeah, like I just kind of said, I have been my channel is GameEnthus.com, and I've been podcasting since 2010, I think. I started doing it. We're on episode 400 and something now. We've been doing it for a little while. My shtick. As I said before, I came from like just pure, nerdy culture stuff, video games, probably video games. So my friends still kind of cajole me because I've injected more board game stuff into the show because my interests changed. They broadened. So of course I'm going to try to have more board game content and things like that in the show. And they're people who they like board games. They're fine with board games, but they're not enthusiastic about them. Not like I am, not like we are, which is fine. I'll win them over eventually.
Yeah, I'll say, or you just get new co-hosts.
No, these are my buddies, so no, I can't do that.
No. They were your buddies until they weren't playing board games.
Why didn't you call me? Well, you didn't roll those dice. You're out.
Remember how I said we were going to do Twilight Imperium starting at midnight? Remember how I said that and you didn't show up? Yeah. Do the words "dead" to me mean anything to you, buddy?
That's a long time to. I mean, that's pretty late for that kind of game. I've never even played Twilight Imperium.
Nope. We talked about it in the last episode, and the guy, he loves it. He said they set up a whole thing where they were going to go 10 hours max, and if they got to the 10-hour mark, they were going to do one more turn, and then whoever was in the lead would win. I'm like, that is a job with overtime. Like that's
I don't want to really do any one thing for that long other than maybe sleep. I'm sorry, I just don't.
Yeah.
But I've not played it. Maybe I play it and love it, but I cannot. If I have a day to game, I probably don't want to play one game, but that's just me.
Yeah, I usually want to, I tap out, if there's a few games I'll play that, are in between 3 and 4 hours. Like I'll do it, but usually I want to be done in 90 to 2 hours.
Exactly. I'm more of a quantity, kind of let's get 3 games in this 4-hour session, whatever. To each their own. That's fine. Why did I get into the media game? Well, I got in it kind of because of the video game stuff. So I've been doing reviews and podcasting and previews, not necessarily previews, but making YouTube content for that forever. And then the pandemic hit, and well, I got bit by the board game bug a couple of years ago, so started just learning as much as I could, buying a lot of games, playing a lot of games, and then once I was sitting at home for a year, aka 2020, I was like, well, I should just make some more board game content. So I just started doing that. So,
Yeah. So what was the game that bit you, that got you
oh,
in? Do you
good
remember?
question. That game is called VYE. It is an area control
Oh,
game.
you were so mild mannered and nice. I would not see you as a cutthroat area control type
And
person.
it's funny. I have a question at the bottom of the outline actually about mechanics. I'm probably showing my hand here. It's not my favorite mechanic. I often don't really like area control, but I played this game with my kids at this local convention at one of the Smithsonian's, and I live in the DC area, and I bought it, and my family really latched onto it. We already liked it. You have cards, and each card is like a set of four, and if somebody puts out more than one of the same card adjacent to each other, you gain control. You put your little color peg on it. But if I have the third or fourth one to complete or continue that set, I remove your control of it, and I have control over it.
Disrespectful.
Exactly. I mean, area control just hurts when you see something growing and it's working out for you, and then all of a sudden like one person's move and you're like done. It's like, wow, how do I replan and get back into it? Anyway, Vi was the game that kind of just got me, just pulled me in. I mean, I have the ubiquitous stuff. I have the monopolies and the Uno, all that kind of stuff that a lot of people already have. But that was sort of the hobbyist game that was like, I like this. What else is there? And then I picked up Cool, and then I picked up, and it just went on from there. And then 400 games later, here we are.
Yeah, you had to buy a new house so you could store your games.
That was my rationale. Well, I got to put the game somewhere, right, honey? Oh, okay.
Well, I won't lie. When we were moving into our new place, we had a small townhome that we were thrilled to have, and then we were. I hate the term starter house, but it was our starter house, and we specifically were looking for a place where it was, I get to have a game room wherever it was that we went. It's not a very big game room; it's small. It's like one of those bedrooms at the Airbnb. You can put a bed there, and that's about it. But this particular house had no doors on any of the closets. For the people who were here before, had some physical challenges, so doors were very hard. But so like behind me, for people who are watching, not just listening, like that's a closet behind me where I just shoved all those little shelves in there. So you
Uh,
know, which has allowed me to expand my collection by like a lot. And then it kind of blows up for a bit and like, oh my god, get it out, get it out. But we were talking about that before we started. I love having an empty space on my shelves. I'm very jealous. You showed me a shelf at the beginning that was just has like one game just sitting on it.
well, honestly, the reason why I said with the empty is because the table behind me has so many things off it that I plucked. It's not that empty,
Yeah,
which
the
is part of
table.
the
Yeah, he did
problem.
show me that the table behind him is a horror show of boxes.
It kind of is. Having done, you know, YouTube content before, I figured, well, let me try my hand at making content for board games, and I don't know.
And here we are. All right, so moving along. What have you been playing recently, and then what's on your table right now? Though I have now seen everything is on your table right now, but maybe trim it down a
Well,
little bit.
when you say what's on the table, you mean what is going to be next to me to
Yeah,
do?
yeah. So
Yeah,
so
that's what I assumed you meant.
yeah. So I'll jump in. So like I've been playing a couple different games lately, but those are put away. And right now I have two games literally set up on two different tables. That's like next to go. So
Mhm.
I'll jump on the first one I've been playing lately is actually one I picked up at PAX called Studies in Sorcery
I like that game.
from Weird Giraffe Games. Did you wind up picking up one of those?
I should have picked up a copy. I did a preview for it. I should have picked up a copy from Carla when I was there. I had to bug her after I got back home and said I forgot to get one. So
Oh,
I have it sitting. That's on the table as well.
yeah. So I grabbed that because I did a demo while I was there, and Carla's really cool. Like
She is.
I really like her. I hadn't actually met her before, but I was at PAX really early because I took a red eye out and I was just kind of sitting up outside the media room playing. Actually, I was playing Mouse Cheese. Then the solo mode. She walked over, was like, "You're William, right?" I was like, "Yes." She's like, "I'm Carla. Can I play?" I was like, Absolutely, because she was waiting for the person with all the games to show up so she could set up her booth. But I did a demo with them of it because I guess it's their latest one to come out. And so for people who don't know, it is a set collection kind of contract fulfillment drafting style game where you are a student at the dark arts university or whatever trying to finish your thesis, and it's just very quick. You have these contracts that need bones and maybe jewelry, whatever it is, earthworms that you're digging out of the grave to fulfill these little projects which might give you powers, and just kind of going through digging into the graves more and more, and you know fulfilling these sets. Now I haven't played it multiplayer yet. I'm excited to play with my wife, but I haven't only played some of the solo, and I'm really digging it. That's also a good
I
pun.
see. I was gonna say,
I didn't mean to do that, but
sure you didn't.
it's really it's an intensely pleasant game to play solo. It's just I can put it out like I was watching TV the other day and I was playing as it was going on. Just real nice, real gentle. And I know you've played that before, right?
Yeah, no, it's good. I did a Kickstarter preview for it. It is a very fun game. I did it when it was called something else. I did a really early on preview for it. No,
It,
it
it
is
was
fun.
called Please Preview This, Aaron, was the name of the game. Yeah.
No, that's not what it's called. I don't really move the needle. I'm glad people even include me. But no, it is fun. It's just that when you do play multiplayer, you'll be much more cognizant. I mean, I'm sure you're cognizant in the solo mode, but you'll be that much more cognizant of the moon phases that they're going on, because you'll look at that big contract that either has the ability you really want or the point that you really want. It's like, how, if that stuff isn't coming up, you're like, what can I scramble and get some points really fast because the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
So
The one thing that I noticed when I was playing through the solo, and I've just been doing like the pure solo, not even with like the little bot you can get, just as I'm learning it. I was thinking
oh,
as
just
you're going,
the point. Just you just have
yeah,
to
yeah,
go through
just the
each.
point.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, which is not my favorite type of Euro solo, but for learning the game,
Oh, it's great.
yeah, it's great. But as I'm going through, I'm thinking, boy, so much more interesting when everybody's going through those piles and adding more and more cards onto
Yep.
the grave piles there. And it just seems like it's going to go a lot. You're going to create a lot more stuff because those piles are always going to be bigger and bigger. But I'm not, I don't know. But so that's the one I've been playing the most lately. You been playing anything lately?
I had, well, it's funny. I played since I got back from PAX. I don't know about you, but like I need a couple of recovery days, and I had stuff for my job. So I've been playing honestly that much since I've been back, which is a shame because there's so many things that need to be played. I know stuff on my table that I need to be playing.
All right. So we'll come around to that. So the other one I've been playing was another one I also played at demoed at Weird Draft, and I just bought a copy when I got back, called Tumble Town.
I love that game. That's one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
yeah, and I didn't know anything about it, but just went back by just to say hello again to Carla if I could catch her, and she wasn't there, and the guy there just kind of gave me a demo. I was like, wow, that's really cool. And again, this is another one for anybody who doesn't know. It's a bit of a set collection style game. It says with dice, and you're going to take the dice and you're actually going to stack them up in the shapes of buildings along this main street of this old west town. And each building that you build is going to give you different powers. And this is another one I've only played it with the solo mode. As I was learning, I was sitting last night, and I had all this other stuff that I was set up on my table, so I was sitting on the floor. Like, this is what I've come to. I filled up all my
Wow.
tables with the games to play. I was like,
And
I'm
now
gonna. Yeah, my wife was out with a friend for dinner. I was like, I'm gonna make some meat, and I'm gonna sit on the floor and play games.
vegetables, starch, just the meat. Just
No,
just the
nope.
meat.
I made two fillets, so I wrapped some bacon around them.
Hey,
I
sounds
made,
all right.
yep, I made those. It's my wife's fault she wasn't here. She couldn't have the second one, but I couldn't let it go to waste.
That'd be criminal.
Right. And then I sat on the floor and played Tumble Town last night. So I don't know if that makes me really cool or like really not cool. I don't know. But so I've been digging that one, and it sounds like you dig that one and you played it.
Oh, I
So,
played it. I've played it solo. I played with my two youngest. My only complaint about that game is just when it ends. So it doesn't end too fast, but every time it ends, I'm like, oh, I want more. But I get it. I mean, it's you make those decisions, do the best you can do with the time you have. Because when those dice run out, it's just like, oh man. I had
My,
plans.
my town could have been so pretty.
That's a fantastic game.
Well, I found I kept what I kept doing, and I think I played 3 times last night. Is
Oh wow. Okay.
solo. It's when you play that
Yeah,
thing solo, it's like a 20-minute game.
it is quick. Yeah.
But I was sitting there and I kept building my town, and then I didn't have space to put the other stuff in. Like at the end of the game, suddenly I was drawing cards just to get the dice because I'd left only single spaces across the board. The where you can.
But you do get a point if you have a space between the buildings, right? But that's not a whole lot of points,
Yeah, it's one
I
point.
guess.
Even the crap house is worth 2 points. So what I'm saying is I'm not good at the game. Is what I'm really getting at here.
I don't know if I'm good at it. I just like it. I don't even know if I'm. Yeah. It's funny. I mentioned that I didn't play a whole lot of stuff since I've been back, but I did play a whole lot of things while I was actually at the show. So I guess I should maybe expound on those. I don't know.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I just tossed out two. Give us 2 or 3.
Okay, sure. I actually played. I'll won't mention Subastral because we'll get into that in a second. I played Trials, which I've never played Parks, and I did pick up Trials a Target sale a couple of weeks ago or whatever, and it's been sitting on my show. And Keymaster Games, I believe, is the publisher. I'm walking around, I see it. I really like that game. I don't. I know that Trials was sort of taking Parks and sort of distilling it down to some core mechanics to sort of make a smaller game. And I feel like the guy demoing it said like Target was kind of like, can you make a game that's like this but just smaller? And that's
Yeah,
sort of how
maybe because
Trials
they
came to
they had
be.
the designer was there doing a lot of the demos, so you might have actually demoed with Henry while you were
No, no,
there.
Henry was gone because the guy was mentioning Henry,
Oh, I see.
but he wasn't there.
Well,
But yeah, I
it
would
was
love to
actually
have
Henry.
asked
He
him.
just talks about himself in the third person.
That'd
You
be
know,
really weird.
he's a
He and
game
The
designer.
Rock.
Well, I did late at night demo another game that he's working on. It's called Cosmoctopus. It's
Okay.
the cosmic octopus that lives in the inky realm, and you are trying to free it from the inky realm. So I mean, like, that's some weird stuff.
That is, I'm intrigued, but that is weird.
It was a lot of fun. So I'm just saying, but you wouldn't think the guy that does parks and trails is also got a cosmic octopus game. Just kind of lurking some under the surface. So maybe it was him. He was like, "Oh boy, that Henry is he's great. Yeah, he designed a great game here. He was just kind of selling it to you the whole time."
I mean, the same designer of, was it Nitwit, the word game, the word party game, is the same designer of Pandemic. So, sometimes it's just like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then you got like Vlada Shvaddle who did code names in Mage Knight.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
and did he also do Galaxy Trucker
And Galaxy Trucker. I didn't realize. I forgot he did. I don't have that. I'm curious. I don't have that one now.
with Mage Knight?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't. I'm told there's an app coming at some point, and I'll try that because
I'll
the
probably
big thing
wait
I've
for that.
heard is the setup on that game is just a bear,
Yeah, it seems a little intense.
and I don't have time for that. That's not true. I play dungeon crawls, but still, I like to pretend I don't have time for that.
We all do. What else did I play? I played some Enchanted Plumes. I actually played that with Tim from Meepleville Cafe. He and I were chit chatting, and I pulled out Enchanted Plumes. He never played it before, so
I never even
taught
heard of it.
him.
What is that?
That is a game where you are designing peacocks to earn points. You're trying to. The game ends when the peahen card is revealed, but basically you have a card full of like feather cards, and they have points on them. And the first row of any peacock you build is going to always be negative points. So you want the lower value cards at the top, and you want the higher value cards throughout for the rest of the peacock. But there's 8 different colors. Maybe there's 8 different colors. And the subsequent rows of feathers you make for any individual peacock that you create has to be comprised of colors of the previous row. So if you only have blue, yellow, green, you can't have purple be in the row underneath it because it wasn't the row above it. Very fun, but it gets a little crunchy is the wrong word, but it because it's a peacock theme. It's very pretty, very aesthetically pleasing, and that sort of belies some of the decisions you have to make of just like, oh, this is not just a walk in the park. But it's not difficult at all. But sometimes you're like, I don't know what to do here because I have to incur a whole bunch of negative points I don't want to. Start another peacock, which is automatically negative points because you go from the top down. I don't know, very fun game. I don't know if, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, never. It's called Plumes.
Enchanted Plumes.
Enchanted Plumes. Yeah, not just
Yeah,
normal plumes. No one wants anything to do with
yeah.
that.
You want Enchanted. That's
Yeah.
if at all possible.
Right. Yeah. So the games, I got two on my table right now. So I'll start with one, and that is I got Final Girl all set up to try. And
Mhm.
did you know Final Girl?
I walked by the booth. I did not get a chance to really check it out though.
Yeah. So I haven't played it yet, but they were kind enough to send me home with the core box and then two of the films. And kind of the fun thing about it is maybe it's not fun. The core box is like the VHS player.
Mhm.
You actually have to get a movie to play with it. I think they have like 8 different ones. So, and they're all mix and match. So I got two of the movies to kind of stick into the little VHS player, and each box is, they're all. If you're listening, this is very boring, but they're all very small little boxes. And so it's a solo only game. Dice Chucker, I'm told, is similar to Hostage Negotiator in the way it works, but you're running around this tiny little map, and the boxes are really cool. Like the maps are, you actually are magnetically attached to those boxes, like the box I just held up, and you pull off each side. One side's got the horror trope villain health board or whatever on there, and the other side has the actual map that you're playing around on. And you are the archetypal final girl from the horror movie. Like the one that's going to survive at the end. There's always the one, and it's like you've had enough, and you're going around and you're trying to kill the killer before the killer, kills you, or I guess maybe kills too many other people. But I think maybe since that is final girl, you can actually have everyone be killed. But everyone I know who's played it loves it. So I got that literally set up right behind me on the table. So that's my first one. What do you got coming up next?
Uh, Blazon, a prototype of Blazon from 25th Century.
Yep, I got that
Uh,
sitting right over there in the corner too. It showed up. I was waiting for him when I got home.
oh, okay. Mine might have been. I didn't get to the post office for a couple of days, but yeah, I got to dig into that one. So I'm glad to know if I have questions, I can bug them and bug you. 'Cause I'm sure I'm
Well,
gonna have questions.
you're starting it next, so you mean to say that you will be sending me your video so I don't have to read the rules? Is what I'm getting from this, right?
I said that. I don't.
That's what everybody heard. You're just gonna.
Oh,
Can you just tell me
oh,
what I think about it and I'll just move on, right? You
yeah, it
know,
looks interesting. I don't know. I'm looking forward to that one. I like a lot of the games that 25th Century puts out. So
yeah, I do as well. I really enjoyed the most recent one, On the Rocks. I don't
yeah,
know.
I played that only solo. I have not played that with anybody else.
Yeah, my biggest regret about On the Rocks is besides the fact that they're marbles and you don't wouldn't want to take that to a bar. You can't take it to a bar because if the lights get dim, you have no idea what color those marbles are.
Did you mention that? You did a video for it, right?
Yeah, yeah, I
I'm
just did.
pretty sure you mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was when I was playing, a buddy of mine, he's the designer of Backyard Chickens, which is a game that should be fulfilling sometime kind of soon. But we were playing outside and it was starting to get dark. He said, "Oh, we're gonna have to stop." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "You're not gonna be able to tell the colors." And I said, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "That's green, that's blue." He said, "Okay, shine the light on it." They're both red. Like not even close. But so yeah, so I got Blazing also. For anybody who doesn't know, you think you're making like medieval crests, I think is the idea.
I think yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah.
As you kind of emblazon your shield, I guess is the play on the term, I guess.
Yeah, that's sort of the theme.
Yeah. And then to the second one I got, so the box was waiting for me. No. The box showed up like 2 days after I got home. But I was waiting for the rules and the mission book to show up. And
Mhm.
that is, and you might know a little more about this because you're a video game guy. It's based on a video game IP called Deep Rock Galactic.
I've played that game. I'm not good
Is
at it, but I played it.
is it fun?
Um, it it is. It's not really my speed, but I get the appeal.
Yeah.
You're
So
collecting minerals and resources and killing bugs, a wave of bugs every now and then.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that showed up. It's a dungeon crawler, but it's not a campaign. Very specifically, everyone is a one off, which is immediately kind of attractive to me because I got plenty of long term campaign games that I've been playing through. In fact, as I can look around and I can see 4 long-term campaigns that I'm in the middle of. So this is just set it up, you go, you play, and the kind of the big shtick behind it is there's no doors between rooms. You have to mine your way through the walls if you want to get to some of the other rooms.
That's
As you,
interesting.
You know, like so it actually has a little, hex based room, whatever shapes. They're not squares. They're just all oddly shaped. I guess they're like supposed to be caves. But then you will actually leave blank space in between them. And so if you want to go to that hidden room, you got to mine your way through the wall. And it looks like I just read the rules. It looks like it's very tight on your resources. Like every time you shoot, you're using your ammo, and you start with like 4 ammo. So you have to actually mine resources so you can call in like the ammo resupplies all the time. And it just seems like it's really, really tight on all the resources. And I'm hoping it's going to be fun. I think it's either going to be really fun or just like aggressively fine.
Aggressively okay.
Yeah. Like, like you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is like so. Oh, this is actually just okay.
I didn't realize it was that popular. I mean, I remember hearing about it coming up, but I guess I forgot. I didn't think it was that popular. But what do I know? I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, I hadn't heard of it, but as I posted some pictures, like I now that I've read the rules, I understand. Like people would all these comments would show up, like rock and stone or something, which apparently is like a thing that they say in the video game all the time. So it seems like it's got a small but very loyal fan base.
Clearly, yeah. I mean, I'm sure they did some kind of research to see, like, hey, what is the viability of us making this thing, and people are like very vocal.
Yeah, I mean, I do like like my Space Dwarves. I didn't know I like Space Dwarves, but now that I'm seeing the Space Dwarves,
Hmm.
I like my Space Dwarves. All right, what else you got back there behind you?
All right. I did a preview for this before, but for a Kickstarter, but it didn't quite take, so sort of a redo. So I don't know if you know Tate Wu.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Boba Majong, he has the new art for it. So that's on my table to do another video for that. I actually got a chance to play that with him. He beat the crap out of me, but I'm not surprised.
yeah.
It was fun.
I did a video on Cleocatra Macaron sitting
Yeah,
so
I have
somewhere
that up
behind
there.
me. Actually, he's sort of local to here. He's in LA, and he popped up to a local small convention, and I got to play one that he's looking at for the future about like frogs jumping around.
Everybody's
Which
making a frog. I know 3 different frog games that are being worked on right now. I played 2.
well
So
now, and have you played Cosmic Frog,
I have not played Cosmic Frog.
which is the only frog game that needs
Oh,
to exist? It
all
is
right. I've been informed. I
it. I mean, it's pure chaos. It's just
hello. Yes, Will says that it's already here. So you can stop working on it. Work on something else. Make a game with toads. All right. Yeah. Go ahead.
make a game with chodes.
Toads.
Oh, toads is very different. Might have to
Those
edit
are
that one
2
out.
very different things. Also, that only works if you watch the video. So if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. That would not have worked at all.
Yeah, he just did a whole scene where he picked up his phone and didn't actually put it to his ear. I mean, it was very, very good. But yeah, so he makes just cute little games that they just work. And I feel like after playing a couple of them, like he's a designer that you can almost just kind of like shotgun all his games, and then you'll find a couple in there that just really kind of speak to you. But Boba Majong, is that your jam?
I like it. It is set collection wrapped around and deep fried in more set collection
Do you like
and
Boba?
pattern building.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
See, that's where it lost me. I think Boba is just
You
ugh.
don't like it?
No little booger things floating around in your
They're
drink that you're gonna suck up through
delicious.
a huge straw. Ugh.
It's fantastic. What do you? This is the first I've heard.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah.
Hey,
No. No.
it's not universal, obviously. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'm out
that's.
here in California where like people love their boba. Like there's boba places all over. Like, you want to go
I
get
mean,
boba? And I'm like,
there's like
no.
2 bubble places around here. I mean, there's others, but this I don't think it's quite as plentiful in Maryland as it would be in
No, I could
parts of
probably.
California.
I bet if I pulled up, my Google map, I could probably bike to at least 6 different boba places if I wanted
That's
to.
a lot of boba.
Yeah, it's a
That's
lot of little.
copious amounts of boba.
Yeah, it's a lot of little drink boogers floating around through big straws. Ugh.
Drink boogers. That's one way of looking at it, but yeah,
Yeah, and I hope next time that you have boba, you don't think about that because I'd feel
I won't. I
horrible.
like it. I'll block out almost everything you said. No, I'm just kidding. I was gonna ask you, have you played Cat Sudoku? also made by Tate Wu.
No, I have not played that one. I've heard that one's a lot of fun. But now Sudoku is also is not really my jam because I'm really bad at it. So I just kind
It's
of
not really Sudoku in the same kind of way that Boba Mahjong isn't really. It's Mahjong to the extent of matching things, but outside of that, it's not a Mahjong game.
So you gonna give us the hard pitch on Cat Sudoku here, or you just kind of
Oh,
gonna just drop
I have not
that
played
kind of
it.
flow? Oh,
Because I got a chance to play Boba Mahjong with Tate Wu at PAX. I was just chit chatting with him. And I said, "Hey, he actually sent me a copy of Cat Sudoku, so it's sitting my on the table." But I'm looking forward to trying it out. There's a solo mode in there. I'll probably try that before I try to teach anybody else how to play. But I like rolling rice too. So I if you say it's rolling right, I'm probably gonna try, even if it's like if you say it's the worst one ever. Let's find out.
so yeah, I usually need the hard sell on roll and rights, which is why the fact that I like Hadrian's Wall, which is not roll, but something to write.
That is like one of the top games on my list to get. I have not played it. I'm intrigued.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna make you feel like you are so smart. It's amazing.
Wow. Okay, I like that feeling.
Like you know how some games make you feel like you're dumb.
Yes. You ever play photosynthesis?
No, I haven't, good, because I've heard it makes you feel like you're dumb. But the Hadrian's Wall makes you feel like you're smart because at least once, even in your first game, you're just going to do this. You'll have a moment where you start spending your little resources and filling in boxes, and it just keeps going. You spend your one black one, and you get a blue one for doing that. You spend the blue one, it's going to give you a yellow one. You're going to spend that yellow one, it's going to give you a stone. You're going to
Love
spend the
that.
stone, it's going to give, and this goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, and you feel like, wow, I am so good at games.
Even if I love that feeling in the game. Even if I lose, it's just that when you combo stuff up together, it's just like yeah, this
Yep.
is this is why I play games.
Yeah, and I was playing through the solo campaign a little bit, testing it out that they put out. You can download from BGG, probably their website also, I don't know. But and I was going through and I felt like I was doing so well, like just great. And I scored 40, which is not a good score. And I posted a picture of it on social media. And people were like, "What is wrong with you? Like you're terrible at games." And I was like, no, I'm really smart. You didn't see the moves I made to get this 40 points. I am so good.
Are these people who know you, like, were they were just messing with you, right?
Oh yeah. No, it's
Okay.
not. Well, I think
I
there was a
hope so.
couple. There's a couple people that I don't know that are like, "You're terrible," but it's the internet, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's,
People could choose their words, carefully. Like you
yeah,
might
no,
want to try this.
most of them were like other people I know, like Alex Radcliffe, who's been on
Mm,
the show twice. Like he just sent me a message he's like, "You do know that's like a terrible score, right?" I was like, "You be quiet. You be
like
quiet."
you.
Yeah.
Or if
You
you're learning a game, that's how it is. I mean, you don't.
Oh no. I've played this game, I don't know, 40 times. Like
Oh,
it was just
well.
bad. Well, see, that's the
Sometimes it's like that.
yeah, well, that's the cool thing with the little solo campaign thing is it forces you to take other paths than you normally do. Because you can, I found in that game, you can kind of because there's so many options, but you can kind of fall into a rhythm. I'm gonna do this path, and then this path, I'm gonna get a really good score. It's real easy to do that. But this little campaign thing, it forces you to build your engine in new ways. And when you're trying to do that, you can just like fall apart. It's
Yeah,
great.
but I mean, that's trial and error. I mean, that makes sense. It wasn't like you had done the same thing you've done the other 39 times and just all of a sudden it just didn't work. You try something different. So,
Yeah. So yeah, you have to get that one. You just if you like rolling rights, you're gonna love it.
all right, it is on my list. I will get it.
Yeah, you're gonna get it, but this seems terrible. What's wrong with him?
No,
But
I'll get it. I'll play it, and then I'll message you like, you know what? I've stopped everything else in my life to keep playing this game. So
well,
you were
you
right.
might. I would actually because when I first got it, it was during because I'm a school teacher. It was during distance learning, and so when I would have a prep period, if I didn't have any grading to do, I would just next to my computer, I would just have it sitting there, and I'd just be play a whole game in my prep period or a whole 2 games at lunch. It's very addictive. It's great. It plays great solo. I actually was played it over Zoom a few times with someone else who has a copy. Like it's just real. It's great. But that is not why we're here to talk about Hadrian's Wall.
We're not. This is the first I've heard. I thought
No,
that's
I
what
did a
this
whole
whole show was
episode on
about.
Hadrian's Wall with Mark Dainty a little while ago. I think like 9 people listened to it. So if you're not one of those 9, go back, check it out. It's a few episodes ago.
All right, double digits.
Yeah, well, with us is number 18 or 19. What number is this? This is episode 19. You're almost. So I don't know what's going to happen at 20. It's got to be something big. Like, what did you do at episode 20? Something big and important?
That was like 10 years ago, man. I have no idea. Probably not.
I know you just said you hit 400, which is insane to me.
I haven't really done any, like, even when we hit like real milestones, we're like, yeah, let's just keep talking about nerdy stuff. All right, cool. So
yeah. All right. But so we don't really have much of a topic this. We usually try to have big topics, but I just kind of threw this at you at the last minute. Say, hey, want to come do the thing on Tuesday? You're like, yeah, I got nothing else to do. And so
I had a little more excitement than that. Well, come on.
Oh, really? Oh, I was just reading it. I was like, oh,
you can't see them, but I have actual bells on, so I'm just,
yeah. Please don't stand up because that's all you have on. We're worried about. All right, but so we were just kind of talking about is what we call games that have stand the test of time, because we both get a lot of games through. A lot of games show up that we buy or back, or we're lucky enough to be given copies, and we run out of space. Like we're joking, but we're only half joking that Aaron's new house is already full of games. So what is it?
Games.
What's that?
I said load bearing games. Like they can't be moved.
Yes, that's how you got the new house. It wasn't done. You just stacked up all your Tate Wu games for a nice thin.
Well, I play those. So people games I don't like, I stack. But that third Monopoly over there. There you go. That wall will hold up now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you like Gloomhaven, but that just holds so much.
I don't have Gloomhaven.
Yeah, you don't need it. That's my.
A buddy has it.
Yeah, you don't need it. Jaws of the Lions were worth owning. It doesn't take up a lot of space, and you get the same fun mechanical goodness of it. But what is it that keeps a game coming back to your table over and over again, despite all the new hotness that comes through?
So, what is the factor, or what are examples of games, or both?
What are the factors that will make it come back for you? And then some games too is good.
I'd say one of the contributing factors I would probably be just having success. Something where I've cracked the code, if you will. I've played it enough such that I have a strategy that seems sound and it's repeatable, and I like the result, and I want to do it again. So it's like, hey, let's pull that back down, and whether I win or lose, I lose a lot. I teach games to my wife and kids, and they just seem to like get into it, and then I'm like, oh, I scored 4. What you get? 39. Like, what? How? Like, so I guess I'm a good teacher, but yeah, I just success. And on the flip side of that, also abject failure sometimes can, if I haven't quite got my hands on it, that mechanic hasn't really hit me. If it, if it hasn't, I'll keep trying again and again until, oh, okay, now I get it. So I feel like those two opposite kind of factors can mean something will hit the table rather frequently or regularly.
Yeah. Well, what's a game that you just couldn't wrap your brain around that kept coming back recently? That you were just terrible at.
There hasn't been one lately, but there was a game when I first started getting into more hobbyist games, I should say, called Winterborn from Talon Strike Studios.
I almost picked up a copy of that, but I couldn't get a demo. Every time I walked by, they were busy.
Ah, gotcha. That was one that was, there's a rondel, you're doing resource management and all that kind of stuff. And I played the solo mode. And I just, being relatively new into hobbyist games, I'm reading the instructions like, what? I feel like if I pulled it out now, I'd be a lot better because I played 200 other games since. But at the time, I kept trying because I'm like, I don't get it. But then it did click with me. And even though I haven't gone back to it, I do enjoy it. But when you first get into something like hobbyist games, there's some things where some mechanics are new to you, and resource management is new, and you need more experience to really get, I hate to say this, get good.
Yeah, well, there's one that was on my Game of the Year nominees that I just am terrible at, and it's Furnace, which is a really fun, inexpensive engine builder. It's just you're drafting these cards, you're putting them out, and then you can run these cards in whatever order that you want. And I'd be playing, and just everyone around the table is just like making these huge amounts of money. And at the end, I'm like, all right, I did really well. I got 20. I'm like, oh, that's nice. I had 20 after the first turn. What's wrong with you? But
Who are you
I just
playing with?
smart people apparently, but it's just so much fun. I just kept going back to it over and over. I took it with me onto science camp and played with another teacher, and then I finally won because she'd never played before. I won twice,
Did you
and then
explain all the rules to her, or was you like,
I
"Yeah,
did.
you do
Thank you
this"?
very much. There's only like 3 rules, but then she beat me every other time after that.
Oh,
So, I'm
hmm.
just bad at it,
Oh,
but
you're a good teacher.
I'm not. Ask my students. But
Well,
it's,
you're good at teaching furnace.
yes, I'm a very good furnace teacher. Let's, narrow that down. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, I really wish that I woulda, what's gonna happen when I finally play and, like, it all really clicks for me and I actually score a good
Mhm.
score. I don't know. I'll be curious about if I wanna go back to it after that. I think the big thing that brings games back for me is, does my wife like them?
Should have mentioned that as well. But go ahead.
But, because I tons of stuff comes through, and she is very kind about, or has been very kind over the pandemic about testing these games with me, because usually I had other people I could test them with, but it's a lot harder. But ones that she really likes will never leave the shelf, like Bunny Kingdom. She really likes that game, and so that will always be sitting right over here. And
Point
I
salad.
oh, Point Salad?
That is point salad for me. She and she's good at it. So yeah.
Yep, and, yeah, I have not played that one, which is that's such an interesting game to me because point salad to so many people is a pejorative. Like, "Ooh, point salad, ooh," but I don't know, they made a whole game out of it, so it can't be that bad, right?
I never really saw it as I didn't see it as honorific necessarily, but I didn't really see it as like a ding. I thought it just meant, hey, you can score a bunch of ways. I never really took it as like a negative thing. I thought it was a good thing to allow players multiple paths to score.
Yeah, that's what I always thought it was, but boy, a lot of people are like, "Ooh, it's a point salad." But so, yeah, so those kinds of my wife likes, there's a lot of games, especially Euro games, that enjoy, but if my wife doesn't like them, well, they it'll I'll move on from it, unless it has a really good solo. But there's not a ton of Euro games that have really good solos. There's very few of them, in my humble opinion. But so there's that, and then of course there are dungeon crawls. I love those games so much. I have a very hard time getting rid of them because they're just, if they have a good story, even though I know the story, it's kind of like however many times I've read The Hobbit
Mhm.
or something like, I'll go, I know what's going to happen. Boy, I'll go back and dive back in. So those are the two things that'll really keep a game around for me. So the next question we had was, what is it that you look for when you're buying a game just for you, just to have, not to review? It may or may not ever get
Uh,
onto your channel, but
um,
what grabs you?
I've already mentioned how much I really like rolling rights. So that and just really colorful dice. I'm just a sucker for those two. I just if I see those two things, I'm like, hey, let's give it a chance. Let's not be hasty. Let's at least let's try it out.
So I
I've,
assume you have every copy of Sagrada then, because
no,
those
I
are,
just have the base. I just have the base Sagrada. I don't have all the expansions and stuff, but not that I'm averse to getting them. I just have the base game. So
you just like the colorful dice.
it's beautiful. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
well, there is coming sometime. I don't remember what month, but they're putting out a Sagrada Legacy.
Yeah, I saw the box at the Floodgate Games booth. I took a picture. He opened the box. I looked at it, but I couldn't take a picture of what's in the box. He was just like, "I'll show it to you, but you can't, really, we're not allowed at liberty to really go into too much about it." I am quite interested and intrigued.
Yeah, but inside the box, it's not very exciting looking. At least not the prototype. When you
There
look at it,
wasn't much in it, honestly, but
yeah,
this is Ian. I forget his last name from
but Birdsall, I believe.
Birdsall, the marketing. His car's right, marketing manager from Floodgate. Yeah, just the description of what is forthcoming definitely piqued my interest. I was like, oh, I'm not really a legacy game person either. What he said was kind of like, oh, okay. The idea of putting a sticker or tearing something for a game I purchased just no,
It's
no.
hard. Well, it gets a little easier because I just finished Betrayal Legacy, which we'd been playing. We started before the pandemic, 4 of us, and sometimes 5. And that, like, there's tiles that you're ripping up, and at the first few times, you're like, "Oh god, that's hard. Oh." Except the guy who owns it, he's like, nope, rip. Like he'll just shred anything.
If it's not mine, that changes things.
It's not. No, it doesn't. I'm telling you, it still
Oh,
hurts.
it
It
still
still
hurts?
hurts. And then when we got to the end of it, at the very end of it, there's like a thing that you have had with you the entire time, and it's a now destroy this, and we're all like, oh, but that not the thing. So it's but it gets easier, and if you come out the other end with your own unique game that you can just play,
Mhm.
I'm okay with. Like I have sitting way up there, Clank Legacy, which we're going to dive into in the new year. And that's the same kind of thing. Like you're putting stickers on the board forever. Don't know what's going to happen. But Sagrada Legacy, I don't think is going to be like that. I'm not. I don't.
Based on what I was told, I don't think so either.
Yeah, it sounds like you. It's more like a Pandemic Legacy that you play and you've had the experience, and you know you are finished. Oh well, I just got an email pop up on my screen saying fill in your pledge manager to get your game, and I do not recognize the company at all. So I don't. Bazite Games, Bazzite.
That is not. I don't think that.
No, it means nothing to me. So I'll be
Oh.
curious to know what that is.
You know why? You're big time. That's why.
Well, I am talking to you. That does show how big time I am.
No, they didn't know I was here. When they hit send, it's all you.
Well, no, it's just been in a holding pattern for years.
Until just now. Huh? Okay.
Yeah, and if ever people get you on their show, they send
Release
the game.
the hounds, release the email. Okay.
Yeah, right. So the last one, short question, kind of the short topic we have is: there's always games that you feel like you should love, and you just don't, for whatever reason. What are some of those games for you? Because like you see rolling rate, like, oh, I'm in, but sometimes it's just that they just don't work. Any come to mind off the top of your head?
This one isn't a roller per se, but this game that people seem to really like, and it just never clicked with me. Santorini. I've heard, people love the original. They love the New York version. I've heard so many wonderful things. I picked it up and I played. I was like, I don't get it. I was just like, I
Yeah.
don't. It just didn't click with me.
Yeah, and, I'm with you on that one. Like I got it for my niece, and it was fun to play with her, but she was 7 at the time.
And then the powers, like some of the powers are just some are just overpowered. Like there's some combinations where you would never win.
Yeah, it's
Why would you ever choose this power? Like, I don't know.
yeah, and the vast majority of the board game nerds would be like, "You're wrong with that one." But yeah, I'm with you on that. Like I don't. But to be fair, I never thought I would love that game when I saw it. I got it because I read that it's good to play with the 7-year-olds. Like, okay, I'll get that one. But yeah, for me, the big one is Gloomhaven. I like it, and we played it, and I have Jaws of the Lion. We're playing that too, but
Is it too much content? Is it just
there's no real story. Like it's just we finished all 2.5 years of playing the original Gloomhaven, however many games that was, 40, 50, whatever. Couldn't tell you what happened. No idea. Like we ended the Gloom. How do I know that? Because the last mission was called The End of Gloom.
but then you were gloomy, so that it really wasn't ended then.
True. Oh, it's deep. Yeah, so I don't know. So that's a big one for me. I'm just like, oh yeah, I guess. And then the other one is Wingspan, which I've only played on the app. Well, we talked about a little bit earlier. I don't know if we were recording it, but everyone loves it, and I don't get it.
I like it. It just no. I like the game. I think it's a really good game. I'm happy about its success. Elizabeth oh, I can't talk. Elizabeth Hargrave is phenomenal. She's great. I'm happy for its success. I'm just honestly surprised that it's taken off the way it did because
Ooh, nice pun.
I mean, the good housekeeping articles and all, it's appealed to so many people who are not hobbyists and enthusiast board gamers. And I'm very curious to know. It's wonderful if people can get into an engine building game like that and really have fun with it because it's not really, it's a great game, but it is not, I don't say casual friendly. It's not really a casual friendly game.
Yeah. It just doesn't It just doesn't grab you, and it doesn't grab me either. And there are some games of that, I'm gonna say ilk, which sounds bad, but I don't mean it in a bad way. Like Ticket to Ride. Like, I like Ticket to Ride.
I like Ticket to Ride.
I will play that pretty much any time. But Wingspan, I just can't get into it. And
Oh no, I like the game. I'm just surprised that some of the people who are not hobbyist board
I see.
gamers are so enthusiastic about it. I'm just like, I'm thinking if you can get into Wingspan, understand it, like I'd like to think that that will create a thirst and a hunger. Hunger. See how I did that for more games of that type, for more engine builders. But I don't know. I don't know who's keeping stats. I don't know if anybody is. I don't know how you do that. But just I wonder how many people who got in who are not hobbyists and enthusiast board gamers picked up Wingspan, played at somebody's house, liked it, either went out and bought it for themselves, and or started buying more hobbyist board games. I'm very curious because it's not like I have not played it with my own family only because I feel like if I say engine building, they're gonna walk away from the table.
Add that to the list of things that you don't say at the table.
Yeah, just yeah.
You
So,
just
I
go
don't know.
this game, and we're going to do things. Sit down, kids.
Yeah, like they like Splendor. Like I play Splendor with them. They also beat me with like I didn't win, which was weird. Not that I had to win, but they weren't doing the engine building part. They were just like using gold to get high point cards and then just hoarding the different resources and then winning. I'm like, you're supposed to be building an engine, not hoarding. But it
Well,
worked.
clearly you don't know
Frustrated
how wealth works in the world. So you just hoard it, and then you win.
Yeah,
Like,
clearly I don't.
yeah.
I was over here trying to like do it the long way. They're just like, no, that's worth 7 or whatever. Give me that. And I'm like, that's not how you're supposed to play this game.
Well, clearly that you need to be paying attention to what they're teaching you here, because that is clearly how it goes. I would be very curious to know if 5-6 years from now, when the new crop of board game media people start like really doing their stuff, how many of them were introduced through Wingspan
I
or
would
something like
suspect a lot, probably.
that? Or at least people who are really into the hobby. Like if you going on Board Game Geek or the board game group or whatever, and said, "What was the first game?" How many people would list Wingspan? Or if it's not quite there yet, how long is the journey from Wingspan to diving into whatever, the other stuff?
The
Or
Wingspan to Twilight Imperium, pipeline is quite large.
yeah, that feels like a long pipeline.
And it's obvious. It's an obvious direct connection between Wingspan.
Well, we're just waiting for the, like Monopoly has their different versions, for the Wingspan Twilight Imperium version to come out, where, instead of races, you're just a different bird or whatever. Space birds, right? That'll sell.
Space birds, metal wings. I mean, it writes itself.
Oh, yeah. Got those, like lightsaber talons and stuff.
There you go. Just don't claw yourself,
Yeah. And if there's any publishers listening to this, you can
Gold.
buy this idea from us. You can't have it, but you can buy it from us.
You can send us a check, after you've made, millions. And
Yeah.
remember that we said this.
Yeah, and we're generous. We'll just take 90% of the gross. That sounds good.
Yeah, that's not everything.
Yeah, we're generous.
Exactly. Giving.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, this has been the perhaps the rambliest episode I've done lately. I think it's indicative of my state of mind right around the holidays. But before we jump in to talk about the game, our featured game for the week, we got to do the sponsor bump. So, same commercial as last time, everybody, but I will add that if you go down into the description, you can get a 60-day platinum membership to Sovereignty. And if you join their Discord, there is now a Hungry Gamer specific chat room where you can do live chat if you want. We can play games with voice chat, all those things. So make sure you check it out and enjoy the commercial again right now. And then the commercial plays. And now, a word from our sponsor. Play some games?
I just can't play games with you today.
Not tonight. They just dropped Far Cry 6 and I need to get into that.
Yeah, nah, mate. Sorry, I gotta put those prawns in the barbie. No. I don't think we can.
There's a football game on, right?
Yeah, we gotta play football.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I've got that really important unboxing of Spider-Man Uno. Look, it says it's fast and fun for everyone.
I wish I could, but I have rehearsal.
I would, just one small problem. You're 5,000 miles away.
Yeah, sorry, man. I can't. I'm heading over to the Milk Shack today. They are having a sale to die for.
Tonight's the night for my noggin waxing.
Sorry, I can't. I have to water my artificial plants.
I guess no one wants to play games with me.
Hey, you want to play some board games?
Well, how do I do that?
There's a whole community of people waiting to play with you.
Really? I can come right now?
Right now, but particularly on Tuesday nights.
Okay, let's go! Sovereignty. Play board games in a 3D environment on any device. Play smarter. You can find more information about Sovereignty in the description of this podcast or video. Okay, welcome back, everybody. So, again, thank you to Sovereignty for continuing to support Boards and Brews. And again, check out the description for links to all the things and your free Platinum 60-day membership. Totally worth checking that out. You added something to our outline here at the bottom, of what is your least favorite game mechanic. And so tell me all about that.
Okay, I mentioned area control not being one of my favorites, but I would have to say my least favorite game mechanic is probably bidding. I think I play games with mechanics that I necessarily don't like. You get over it, whatever. It's not my favorite, whatever. But I think like bidding, I think having to make a bid always just, I don't know. I don't like. I'll do it, but I don't like doing it.
Yeah. Now, is it that those games where you can make a bid and then if you don't win the bid, you just lose everything, or is it just bidding? Period. 'Cause I'm thinking about like Furnace, where it's about bidding, but sometimes you bid to lose, because when you lose in Furnace, you get paid out. You get paid out something, so you actually have to lose some bids in order to progress in the game. But I can see where you're coming from. There was a game that I played, one of the earlier hobby games I played, called I want to say Infamy is what it was called. And someone randomly brought it. I actually owned it for a little bit because it was fun, but it's a bidding game. But when you would bid, you had to make a payment to be allowed to bid. And that payment was gone no matter what. It was like and so, if we were both bidding on Subastral, whoever wins gets it, I would have to pay that $20 just to be allowed to then bid the other money. The rest of the money I'd get back if I lost, but I'd still be out that $20. And it was kind of a clever mechanic. It made you be careful with your money, but really depressing when you go through a round and literally win nothing and just lose stuff.
Or just whittle away the little you have by going into bids that you never win over and over until the point where like, it's not even big because you don't really have enough to even play anything.
Yeah, just go back to your corner and watch someone else win.
No, there are games where it costs you, like you just said, it costs you a little bit more to even enter into a scenario where you can bid. But I don't know. Like, it's funny. One game I didn't mention earlier, you ever played 10 from AG? Same designers as Truffle Shuffle and Point Salad. There's a bidding mechanic in that game, but it didn't bother me as much. I guess I do the same thing when I play video games. Like I'll play a game where I have to upgrade or augment certain abilities and things, and I always hoard.
Yep.
I never want to like not have anything. So I'm always like, oh no, I don't.
I never drink my dumb potions.
I'll do that, but I won't buy them. Or maybe I won't either.
Well, no, I mean like a health potion or whatever. Like sure, because you're gonna die, but all the other stuff, like the some kind of buff for like 2 minutes or whatever. I never use them because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna need those later.
I do the same thing, and that's kind of the same reason why I'm like, I don't want to bid because yeah. So I don't know. That's just that, and like area control, I'll still do it, but area control is not one of my favorite things either. Just because you can visually, like when you're losing, but in a game where you can visually just look and see how poorly you're doing. It kind of, for me, after a while, it kind of takes me out of it. Like, I'm not going to be able to turn this around. And it's just staring me in the face this whole time until I just slowly crawl to my inevitable death at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny. One of the area control is not one of my favorites either. There's a few games that really have stuck with me. One is I previewed. I think it's supposed to be delivering later this year. It's called Theurgy, and that's area control, and you're building these temples around the board, and it's every player is representing this almost forgotten god. You're trying to bring back your religion in this world that's starting to discover science. By science I say like alchemy type stuff. So you got the non-believers, whatever. And it's a fun game, but even when your stuff gets destroyed, you get to leave the ruins of your temple, which are still worth some points. So even by being beaten, you're still progressing through the game. And so that's one of the reasons why I like that one so much. But on the other flip side, actually, I just played a game that I'm previewing at some point. I played it at PAX. This huge buckets of plastic game with airships, and it was neat. It's called the Aldara Reborn, and the demo was just 2 rounds, and I ran away with it score wise in those 2 rounds. But at the end of that 2 rounds, I'd been wiped off the map, and so the question that I have is, well, what happens next? Like I've been wiped off the map, and yes, I get resources, but everyone gets resources. So am I just going to spend the next 2 hours puttering around and to my inevitable demise, or is something more going to happen? And I think that's kind of the challenge with area control, and one of the reasons why I often don't like it nearly as much. Kind of like you, I'm also bad at them. Like I have a very hard time holding my holdings. I want to, I got it, I've done. I want to move on, but no, you got to be there and hold on to these things, which is
maintain in order to win and grow.
Yeah. The last time I was playing 4X games, I often do that. The one called Fractal, which is coming out, I was playing with my buddy, and I was whooping up on him, but he just came around the back and just slowly destroyed every single one of my planets because I just left some guy named Fred on them to guard it, and he had this whole fleet, and it just doesn't really work for me in general. But so I'm with you on Eric. I think my least favorite mechanic is deck building.
Really?
For deck building's sake, like Dominion, I have 0 interest in playing games like that. I really don't like, and I've said this many times, I really don't like when you're buying cards that are just all they do is let you buy more cards. I find that more. Now, deck building as part of something else, like deck building in Clank, I like that because you're using the cards, you're doing something, you're moving around. Or in the game that I'm super excited about from Plaid Hat, the Familiar Tales, like you're doing some deck building there, but you're doing this deck building to, fight monsters, and you're moving around the board, and you're doing skill checks and all these things. That's exciting, but just deck building to deck build, no thanks. Hard pass for me.
I like Dominion. I've only played it like maybe 2 years ago. I've not been playing it for however long it's been out. But the deck builder that really sunk his teeth into me at first was Mystic Veil. But that's the deck building and card crafting all kind of in one. I really, really like that game. I like Shards of Infinity as well.
All right, now maybe you can sell me Mystic Veil. I played Mystic Veil once, and I was exceedingly disappointed. That is a game that I should have.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? I guess that's the question. What's wrong with you? Because the game is fine at you.
So many things, but it's the card craft. Like it has these pretty pictures, but they're all tiny and they don't do anything. The idea was so cool, but like you look at these cards and it's just like, I have a picture, little picture,
so good.
Picture. Oh wow, amazing! Get out of here! I don't need that.
Same thing for everybody.
Yeah, same thing with Canvas, which I thought I was going to like even more.
That's the game where you can like hang it on the wall. That game.
Yes, it does. Okay. I sent it to Alex Radcliffe because he was looking to back the new one. I was like, you can take mine. Like I don't care. But
I would have known you then. I would have raised my hand, higher than Alex's because
well, you're taller than he is, so that would have been easy.
I didn't meet him. I am taller than him. Yes.
Yeah, but in that one, you're using it like I love the idea of the clear cards. I love it. It just wasn't exciting. Like so, I'm waiting for someone to use that clear card building and make it awesome.
Did you play? Okay, did you play the physical version of Mystic Veil? Or you played the digital? I love both. I'm just curious.
The physical, I didn't realize there was a digital. But
it's on everything. It's on mobile. It's on the Switch. I have it on Steam. I can play it on anything.
Maybe I'll pick it up on Switch and you can beat me. played it at Origins. Actually, it was one of the games I was like, I think I'd like this. I think I'd like this. And I just walked around when I was like, someone's going to be playing this. And I just walked around until I found somebody. And I was like, I'm going to play. Can I play? Is that okay? But I was asking, but I wasn't really asking. I was kind of,
I'm playing this game.
Yeah, I was kind of aggressively asking. I mean, they were lovely. Let me play. And I was playing through, and like halfway through, I was like, so when's it going to get good? I didn't say that because they were really enjoying it, but that is how I felt. I was like,
I mean, teach their own. Because that game really, it sunk its teeth into me. Like I own like the Conclave thing. I mean, I love that game.
Well, then bring it to Origins. We'll play, and I will give you a running commentary on why I'm bored the whole way through. It'll be good.
I'll tell you what. Pick it up on, I don't know, Switch or Steam or even iOS or Android, and I'll play with you. It's I don't know. It might not, maybe you'll like it more there because maybe just the having to do the card crafting with the physical game was just like you felt like you were exerting so much energy for just a little reward, whereas you're just clicking it, just clicking and dragging on.
Yeah, they just weren't. It wasn't as pretty as I wanted it to be. Like I just wanted it to be like
pretty. Were you expecting it to be like
really pretty?
The art is wonderful. I don't.
But it's so small.
Is it though? You mean like the icon, like the blue gems, all like the iconography stuff, or the resources?
Actual pictures, those tiny little like 1 inch by 1.5 inch little pictures.
Wow. Yeah, we got to play the digital version now because I that game is so good. I just don't. I don't know. I love that game.
I'm happy that this does not compute for you.
I don't get it. Like it's like the Dominion thing. I got you because it feels. I think you feel like it's just rote. Yeah. I'm just exchanging this stuff to exchange more stuff. Like I'm unlocking the ability to unlock. Great. What's next?
Yeah,
but Veil is that game.
Now, did you like the follow up? I think Edge of Darkness. It was called. I think something like that.
I have not played that one. I've played the base and 2 or 3 of the expansions. I didn't even play the solo version Nemesis that that they brought out. I'd like to. I just haven't.
No, but you did get it.
Oh yeah. I went all in on some Mystic Veil. That is my jam. Have you played Shards of Infinity?
Only on the app. On the app.
What'd you think of that?
It's fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one that I will play on the app every now and then. I'm not going to buy it, and a real version.
I have it, but I've never actually. I think I played it once, and I had the solo expansion. I played the app like hundreds of times.
Yeah, there's a couple games like that. There's very few of the games that have a good app that I also want the actual version. There's One Deck Dungeon. I'd like to actually still own that in the box version because rolling dice is fun.
I have one of the expansions physically, but I think I have it on Steam and the Switch.
Yeah, and I'm weird.
Oink games that just came. They had the Let's Play Oink games. I think like 5 or 6 just came out on the Switch like last week.
Oh no, I haven't turned my Switch on in a while.
It's like $20, so I'm like, yeah, I probably need to get that. I have some Oink games that are like Deep Sea is on there, some other ones. Yeah, I need to get that because you can play them online too.
I'll go check out Mystic Veil. I'll ponder it. We'll see. I might have to have a drink or two before I'm willing to throw down for it.
Yeah. Hey, whatever works, I guess. But that's such a good game, man. I don't. But nothing as universal appeal.
But to the point, I wish I thought of it earlier. Like that is a game that I was sure I was going to love. Sometimes you go to a convention, you can kind of blame the people you're playing with. It's just not a good experience. No, the 2 guys are playing who are just some of the loveliest people ever.
Despite the insults they were throwing at you, kicking you in the shin under the table.
All those inside. Come on now.
Everything is not for everyone. So that's yeah.
Yeah. The only other game I have an app that I've actually kept the physical version is Sentinels of the Multiverse. And
I have the app, but I never played it.
And the app's really good. The app is a very good rendition of it, but
Sagrada's good too. That's another good app.
Oh, I've heard that. I haven't actually played the app. I have the real one. Actually, I bought it for my wife. It's hers, but we have that. She saw the Sagrada when it was still being built now. It's been being built for like I don't know 200 years or something, but it's almost done, and so she's very excited about it actually being finished. supposedly we're going to go back and see it.
It's funny when we were early on in 2020. I was playing a ton more mobile conversions of board games. I was playing a lot of them on my phone, on my tablet, and I feel like as time has gone on, I just don't play them as much. I don't know why.
Well, you're starting to be able to, play with humans a little more in meat space, is my guess.
Yeah, that's a contributing factor. But I mean, Gone Strong Clever was like that. That was 5 seconds, like whatever. I just Gone Strong Clever, whatever.
Oh yeah, so is
Twice
that
as clever. Whatever.
is that game your jam? Rolling right?
It is. It is. I'm not great at it, but I do like it.
All right. So you were mad at me about Mystic Vale. I've never played Gone Strong Clever. Oh,
I can't. I mean, you haven't played it.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
I expected you to have a visceral reaction to how could you not play?
Oh, I'm making an effigy of you off camera. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, good. I hope I get to see it afterwards. I hope you're making it out of dice.
No doubt.
You're making it out of clear cards. You're stacking, you monster.
Well, of course, got to be. That'll piss you off more.
Oh yeah, because gosh, that should be such a great mechanic. Oh, have you played the Cloud Age or something like that? It's the new one has the clear cards, and you have like clouds, and you can only see some of the stuff that's like in theory down below. Yeah,
that sounds interesting though.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know anyone who's played it, but that was the idea. Anything that has clear cards, I'm just assuming that you love now.
Oh, okay. I do own Custom Heroes. I played it once and never played my copy of it. I was told by one of the gentlemen from AEG that before Mystic Vale came out, they wanted to release a game that had the card crafting system to kind of see if people would be into it. I don't know if Custom Heroes was immensely popular. I know they're big in Japan, like labeling, but I guess it did well enough such that they were like, all right, let's invest more into.
Aren't you really big in Japan?
No, I'm not.
Oh, shame. So our feature game this week is one that you introduced me to at PAX, and we wound up playing every single morning before we started. Introduced other people to. Most people liked it. Some people, Jason Perez was like, "I don't know what's happening. I'm leaving." But
it was early.
Yeah, boy, it was hilarious. But his brain was not working at that time.
But I can relate to that. Where like, and had it been 4 hours from then, he'd have been fine. But it's a thing.
Yeah, and it was the last day. But anyhow, so Subastral is one that you had in your bag. Mm-hmm. Your kids gave it to you for Father's Day. And you're like, I should play this game because Father's Day was a long time ago. Tell us about Subastral. What is it? The very quick overview.
So Subastral is designed by Ben Pinchbeck and Matt Riddle. I think are 2/3 of Motor City games. Like Flick the Dice game, Three Sisters, those games. Anyway, it's a card game where you have these communally, you have these 6 cloud cards in front of you. And each cloud card has 1 or 2 cards underneath it. And it's a tableau building game where on your turn, you are placing a card from your hand into one of the piles, one of those 6 cloud card areas. Now, if you place your card onto wherever you place your card on 1 through 6, if you place it on, let's say 3, then 1 or 2, whatever cards are there, you can take either one of those piles, put them in your hand. But any number that's larger than the pile in which you placed, you can take those cards, put them into your tableau. So what you're doing is you're building a tableau in front of you, going from left to right. The problem is you can only score if you continue from left to right. So if you have gaps, you go as far as that gap. So if you had 1 card, a space, and then like 6 other cards, great. But you're only going to score that 1 card because you have a gap. So it's about, and then cards have certain rarity in it. Like, the 3 dots means a lot of them, 2 means less, 1 means they're rare. I should say frequency, whatever. It's fun. It's tableau building. You're just building out the cards in front of you, and it gets tough because if you're like me and don't pay attention at first to if the card you pick to be your leftmost card is rare, you might find it really difficult to build out that tableau because there's fewer of the cards that you have to begin one of your rows with, which can doom you, which it kind of did for most of those 6 games. But I had fun anyway.
What you're collecting are different, I guess, biomes. Like you're collecting desert and forest, but there's 8 of them, so there's a whole bunch of different things. And the thing that really got me about this game was you think you want to get cards in your hand, but you don't really, because it's really hard to get cards out of your hand into your tableau.
Yes, unless you cheat.
Is that how you won?
I didn't win.
Oh, so I guess you didn't cheat.
I never cheated. I didn't win.
Yeah, it's what I did. I had one game. I took a picture of it that it was just what felt like an epic play, and every other game that I played it was just terrible. But I had the one game where I got the set of 8 twice.
Yeah, that was a good one. 72 points for that, I believe.
Yeah, something huge. And so what's interesting, so as you're playing, you have to put, as the cards go horizontally, those are worth far more points than getting your cards in the columns.
Yeah.
But it's a very simple game. Like if you were looking at the cards and the setup right now, almost anybody could play. There's a couple little other rules, like if you take from the 1 and draw from the 6. There's a couple little things, but that's really it. It's very small, very quick, and it's all about just constructing your tableau. So, what do you like about it?
I like everything you kind of just said. It is just next to like really no setup other than putting the 6 cards out there. It plays really quickly once people get it. And like you mentioned, putting stuff on the 1 and 6, you have to remember if you put it on the 1 or 6, you can also take from or put in your hand or put into your tableau what's on the other one, sort of a loop around kind of thing. So that it plays pretty fast.
And I think what worked really for me is the limitations on the building of your tableau. The fact that once you have a card down, it's stuck in that column.
Yep.
And it's a 20-minute game, but the long-lasting ramifications of making that mistake early on by putting as your first card the one dotter or whatever it might be. It's just, and then to try to dig yourself out of that hole, it's possible.
It is.
But you're regretting your life choices that next 20 minutes as you try to somehow solve it. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't say the thing that maybe brought us the most joy was the rule book. Which
yes.
And I don't know if you remember the exact wording. So, but if you do, what was the rule that was very important that we knew?
I'm pretty sure that the rulebook specifies with specificity that the first player would go first,
which everyone else, everyone listening is like, what? But it brought us so much joy because when Aaron was teaching, he went back and he read that like 3 times. It's like the first play, as if there was going to be more. I don't know, but no, that's it. I just want you to know that if you are first, you go first.
Yep.
And
that's a new one for me.
And the rest of the rules seemed like it was a pretty good rule book, but just that weirdness that was in there is just great. I think the other thing that I particularly enjoyed about it is, and I referenced it, was just it plays against some of the common strategies in a set collection game. And a lot of times, set collection game, I'll just get as many cards as I can. Like we were talking about studies in sorcery. If there's a big fat pile, I'm just going to take that pile. It doesn't matter what's in it because I would be able to use those cards for so many things. But it turns it on its head because you're only playing cards that you pick up from somewhere else. So if you want to get a card out of your hand, you have to put it down and then hope that Aaron doesn't take it. And it's very, very challenging.
We kept kind of saying to each other, like, hey, if it's a card you really, really want, just don't focus on it because chances are it will not be there when the time it's your turn.
Yeah, the first time
just know that.
Yeah, the first time we played 4 players. I was joking, but not really. It's like I'm just going to stop looking at the board until it's my turn, because all that comes from that is heartache.
Yep, every time.
There'll be a nice, but that's also really fun that it just regularly happens. That that someone's going to take what you want, and just that lovely frustration. But it feels so good when you take the next person with it's beautiful.
Because they inevitably sigh. There's something that lets you know, like, they really wanted those cards.
Yep, and it's so good. And even though I'm probably going to lose, I'm winning at this moment. I don't think anybody was actively hate drafting because everyone needs all the cards.
That's true. We do.
And so it's there. aren't really any strategies per se beyond, because you want to get those horizontal those horizontal rows. Like that's what you need to do. So everyone is going for the same thing. And I think what's interesting is that after playing it 6 times, I still want to play it again because it's not like there's a ton of different things going on. At least it didn't seem so to me. You play more of this kind of game, so maybe you can correct me there.
No, there's not. It really is what's in front of you, what's available when it's your turn. That's your reality. What happens before or after that kind of doesn't even matter because you don't have it anyway.
And I think that would probably be the only thing that I would point out as something that's perhaps, something to watch for if you're, running out and buying it right now, is that there's not a ton of depth to the game.
There's not.
But that little, it's kind of like, playing in the edge of the ocean. It's still real fun. Not a lot of depth, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's something there. There's something that clicked enough for us to go. Because I wonder, you asked me, did you bring it? I was like, no, I don't think I did. Oh, no, I do have it. Okay, let's play again.
And I was going to get up and walk out of the room if you actually didn't have it.
You did threaten that, yes.
I did. And you were like, oh, gosh, I hope I don't have it. But
I went back to the locker and went, oh, got it.
Yeah,
you unballed your fist and went, okay.
Oh, yeah. These tiny little things are so threatening.
You better have it.
So it's like being punched by an infant. But anyhow, so Aaron, thank you so much for joining me today on a very late notice. Thank you for introducing me to Subastral. And before we go, can you leave everybody with your words of gaming wisdom?
My words of gaming wisdom would be play for fun, not to win.
That's good for you after seeing you play Subastral.
You know exactly where it comes from.
Yeah.
You see me lose many times. So, yes.
Yeah, and I've said this many times. I find that the less I actually care about winning the game, the more often I win. It's very strange.
Yeah, I want to win, but even if I don't, it's...
Yeah, there's only one game that I truly care about winning, and that's just because I haven't ever lost it, and now it's like a thing.
What is that?
The Vast Mysterious Manor.
Okay.
I've never lost. It's gonna come because it's not an easy game, but until then, I care. I get like the sweaty palms and
You have
stuff.
a streak going, and you don't want to see it stop. Yeah, I get that.
It's like a 9-game streak or something, and that's a long game.
Okay, that's good.
That is like 24 hours of not losing. Like that's amazing for me.
I've not played that one. I've heard it, but I have not played it.
Man, it's so much fun, but boy, the rules overhead on that are just brain melting.
Yeah.
Like I don't. There's not a single game that I've played of that the win doesn't have an asterisk next to it of, well, this rule was ignored till halfway through.
Assuming I did this right, one.
All right, I'm gonna go. Maybe this weekend, maybe for Christmas, I'll buy myself. I'll punish myself with Mystic Veil.
Wow, punish.
And,
okay. I see you.
It will do it. But in any event, everybody, you can check out down in the description of the video or the podcast where to find Aaron's work with GameEnthus. Again, to check out Sovereignty. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, share, all those things. Go to Aaron's videos, make some comments, tell him, just go comment Mystic Veil is the worst. And just just do it. Just do it. Do it. But as always, thank you so much for watching, everybody, or listening. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Got the 2 calyxes here, and then I just put up the other one back there. Once that starts to get full, it's time. Probably before that, it's time to start the call. And we just moved into this house, and I've already maximized my calyxes.
That's fine. You do. You're a big deal. You're big time.
I'm not vocal on there. I'm a lurker. I just look. Hey, thumbs up, and then I back off.
When you're flexing in the board game world, there's something wrong with that. And he's just. Ugh.